Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. Have seen a troubling trend of women on TikTok who have been making the newborn stage uh, seem very, very negative, even though we all know it can be quite difficult in that stage. These women are going above and beyond to make it look completely awful so that women say in the comments and other places that this is why they want to take birth control and have cats instead. And I think that these individuals who are recording these videos, they are really doing a disservice to motherhood and not actually helping anybody. And they claim they're just showing how difficult it is, but in reality they're dramatizing it for views and clicks. So I thought I would create a video. I wrote some notes here about coping skills during the newborn stage. One of the things that helped me to cope, because everyone has a different living situation. You have your grandma to help you have your mom to help you. Good for you, but not everyone has that. So I didn't have that, and a lot of women who have to do it themselves while their husband's sleeping, or he has to go to work, or he's just not there, you're gonna have to figure it out on your own. And so one of the coping things I do to help stay awake, because the heaviness of wanting to sleep literally can just make you dip out. It's very difficult. And while I would be nursing, I'd have my tripod, I'd have my phone, and I'd watch things like Country Life Vlog, bushcraft making videos, things I've shared with you previously before. I also have them on a playlist. Those types of videos, virtual hikes, GoPro mountain bike racing videos, things that can keep me awake, that don't require loud volume for me to hear or for me to read subtitles. And just the sounds itself was enough to kind of keep me from falling asleep in the chair, which can be quite dangerous, and help to not be so bright that, or noise pollution type of noises that would keep the baby awake. It wasn't anything like that. It was low volume, but still engaging enough to help. And stuff like that really helps, because if you're isolated and you're becoming more and more down and grim and gloomy, you need some type of beauty to help you. Okay. Your hormones are different, you're healing, things are dark. They're very dark, and a woman has to know how to have coping skills outside of her man, because this can make or break a relationship. Some women can even start to hate their husband during this period, or hate themselves, or resent their babies. You know, it's a very difficult time for women, and men are not very educated on the topic unless they are a doctor or in that field. But since the nuclear family is so broken, there'll be a lot of women who don't have help. And some women, they know they don't have help, and then they get abortions. And so instead of getting an abortion, I thought I would recommend just some coping skills. So there's these bushcraft videos, cooking, racing, things like that, you name it. There's also safari videos where people just film animals in the Sahara Desert and stuff like that, that can really help you. That can really help you to see the beauty in the world while you're going through a mentally difficult time. It's a visual ASMR stimulant that helps to relieve stress in a way that maybe not be the best, but it's something rather than nothing. There might be times too where you just want to watch someone play some slow gaming. That could work if you're really into video games. There are ASMR gaming videos as well, so you could try that. But my point was to have a tall tripod you could put your phone on and then watch something that soothes you, that doesn't require too much engagement, that's more like if you look away and look back, you didn't miss something like super vital, right? It's not like you're watching debates or something like that at 2 a.m., you know. I also wrote down window being cracked to let in a fresh breeze. So some babies require a lot of movement to go to sleep, and I'd have to have a rhythm, even if my shoulders hurt, my knees are like, oh man, this is going on for a while. Especially when my baby had the purple crying phase, they call it. Even though she was breastfed, she was still a colicky baby. And that is very, very stressful. Very stressful, but alhamdulillah, I got through it. But I would stand by the window, and I would open, the roll windows, open up a smidgen, so that I could have that breeze come in and like coat me in refreshment. Imagine how you feel when you crack your window open at 5 a.m. There's like that fresh morning air. So allowing that breeze to kind of come in, it soothes you in this very interesting way that some people might overlook. And then obviously before you go to bed, you're going to want to close that window. Sorry, the children are playing. And I also wrote down scented candles. Now, this can be overlooked. I understand that can be overlooked. However, there's scents like pine, vanilla cupcake, pumpkin spice, banana bread, pancakes, waffles, you name it, mint, lime, citrus. There's so many, right? But sometimes just having that visual to look at during the day, and there's even a scented candle I got that smelled like baby powder. And it's something that sets the mood of cozy, nesting, relaxing, feminine, and it's like, it's like aromatherapy, right? Because things can feel bleak and you need some stimulants. You need something to make you feel awakened. And it's nice waking up and getting the scent in the air. It's a really wonderful thing. And I can't emphasize that enough. Aromatherapy is real. And it's a little thing, but just texturizing the air and scenting it can really make a difference, especially if you are, like, during the summertime, having the scent of like citrus, pineapple, stuff like that can really help. Coconut. But in the winter seasons, the fall scents come in, and that can really help make things feel cozy because it's more dreary and cold, right? And there's something just quite nice about having a beautiful scented candle on in a glass jar as it's raining outside, and the whole home is quiet and you're just nursing your little baby, even though you're brutally tired. It just adds to the element, I'd argue. And another thing that I wrote down was fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as in He can take back your child. Now this may sound extreme, but understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this baby as a test and trial. You need to fear Him that He can take back your beautiful gift. If you start to resent your baby, be ungrateful. Some moms don't want to hear that, but I feel like that benefited me a lot. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't have given me this baby if I could not have handled it. I'd rather have this baby than not have this baby. Sometimes some women forget how blessed by Allah that they are, because the baby's colicky, won't sleep, has reflux, or something that just makes it not as smooth as it could be. They start to lose fear of Allah, and that Allah can just take your child from you. And a lot of women go crazy if they lose their baby, and they would give anything in the world to have their baby back. So in moments like that, where your nerves are on edge and you're having a hard time coping, just have a deep sense of gratitude and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're an atheist, I don't know how you would fix that, but I am thankful to the Maker for my child, and that type of mentality helped me. And I thought to myself, when she'd be going through her crying fits, or she burped up on me, or she pooped so much it came out of her diaper, or she peed on me, something like that, I would just think about how I'm so blessed that I got through the pregnancy process safely. The delivery of the baby was safely, even though it was cesarean. We got home from the hospital safely. And I would be like, this stage will pass, and I don't want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take back His present. I don't want to be tested in that way. May Allah protect my children from the evil eye and from all who would oppress us. But that type of mentality would shoo away shaitan. It would solidify my bond with my baby. And I'd also argue that another thing to help you cope is that you don't have to be in Barbie mode. It's one of the biggest burdens women are cursed with is trying to look sexy for your man and be sexual with him, and it's all about, the man. And while you're trying to sustain this little tiny human being who needs you more than he does. And how if you're cursed with a selfish man who is more caring about his penis than your overall mental health, your well-being, it can be very scary for women. They can start to resent their baby because they lost their figure, and this can make coping very difficult, especially for first-time moms. The insecure waves that come in can really damage women, and if the man is a pig, he's a womanizer, he's an adulterer, a fornicator, this can be quite scary for those women because that makes their postpartum recovery even harder because you're bleeding, you're sore, you don't even have the same appetite, you're not sleeping good, maybe having bad dreams or just strange dreams, pain, hormonal shifts, and trying to just look like you didn't have a kid is going to take a toll on you. And I would argue that it's okay to not be a pin-up girl. You're not trying to look like a porn star while you are filling up a pad with blood. This is very potent language I'm using here. But it is such a burden on women if they have a man who expects them to just be dolled up right after they had a kid. One thing that I always felt sad for was the princesses and the duchesses and all that of England, who right after they had that baby in the hospital, they gotta go stand out for the idiots and take pictures, and they cannot just realize what happened to them, and they have to actually suck it all up and present a fake image instead of showing what all we mothers know. And it's quite sad. Quite sad. So it's okay to not be in the Barbie mode, was my point as a point of coping. To recover and be survived during the newborn stage, you don't really need to be worrying about your fake eyelashes and your eyeshadow and your lip gloss. I mean, some women focus on that because they have other people take care of their kids, and they're deeply afraid of losing their man, or they know they got a low quality man who is going to cheat on them, because there are men who cheat on their wives when they're pregnant because they're not attracted to her anymore. And it's a curse on this planet that those types of men exist. And so women are filled to the brim with panic, even if they don't show it. Even if they trust their man, there's a lot of fear in women on the pregnancy journey and then the recovery period. So for about 2 years, it's very difficult. And some women, they lose the weight faster than others. Some actually had horrible health complications, so their whole journey was not fun at all. And it takes a mental toll and makes the newborn stage even more difficult. Or babies who had complications in the hospital and they're just trying to hold it together. So coping skills also can be food. One thing that would help me was sometimes I'd have a little key lime cheesecake, a little bit of carrot cake. You can have people who lie to you and say you shouldn't have any sugar or you shouldn't have any sweets and you should eat like a rabbit. But food is a coping mechanism. Don't go overboard, obviously. But there are moments where it's just like, I just wanted to enjoy this dessert and have a mini break. Right? Coping needs to express itself in a healthy way, not a way that has wine, pills, or strong Percocets, because some women will consume things that make their parenting skills less because they can't cope in a better way. So little things that add comfort can help a lot. Sometimes it can be decluttering. Got stuff you don't need, things you can't take care of anymore. You want to get rid of some houseplants, or you want to add some houseplants. There are things that can help you. A fish tank in the corner, so during the night while the baby's slowly falling asleep, you can watch these fish just swim around with that beautiful light in the tank. It's all up to how you want to create your comfortable environment, and these are things you should think about before you get pregnant, during your pregnancy, and then being able to carry them out when you get home from the hospital, right? So essentially, watching ASMR videos of outdoors, cooking, stuff along that line, having your tripod there because it gives you something to look at, rain sounds, ocean sounds. I do that every night. I'd also watch things like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or Courage the Cowardly Dog with my kids sometimes. I have my scented candles, obviously. Practicing gratitude and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being thankful for the opportunity to be a mom, and not neglecting looking all fancy, but not letting that push my kid to the side. I believe there was a hadith of Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, where there was a mentioning of, this is why I wish I memorized it, if a woman would overly take care of herself, she would think she's a bad mom, but when she's a good mom, she doesn't look all fancy. It was something like that. I wish I could find it. I forgot what hadith books it in. But those of you who are familiar with hadith of Omar, may Allah be pleased with him, will recognize it. Basically just pointing out that a good mom isn't going to look like a porn star right after she has a baby. Okay? And a mom has to recognize this is mom mode now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a soul to tend. That is more important than your man's erection. And the woman has sacrificed her body in such an extreme way that if the man cannot control his erection and his own selfishness and his hedonism and his lust, so that his woman can recover and properly tend to the baby, then he is a curse upon the human race. And so it's very important for women, before you say yes to marry somebody, before you be with them at all, make sure you're getting someone who isn't going to hinder your coping skills or cause you to crash. Because things change in the pregnancy journey and your very first kid. You don't know what to expect. You're taking a huge gamble on this man. Huge gamble, right? Will he change for the better when the baby's here, or will he be a dickhead monster? When the child's out, things in your universe, if you're a good person, change. And you realize the gravity of the situation. How you are now an octopus having to juggle keeping him happy, right? And then trying to survive, and then taking care of this little human who needs you. And then when you have multiple kids, that's even another challenge, right? So try to think about healthy coping skills during the newborn stage. And sleep deprivation will be there. It will. And prioritizing sleep is very important. Very important. And your energy level is going to be different than your husband's, because his stress comes from his work. Stress from a baby who cries, it hurts your ears, and it has a faster way of draining you. It's a different kind of draining. So hopefully those little mini list of coping skills can help you. Loose clothing helps, comfortable clothing helps, good bedding, multiple pillows for between your knees, one to hug. There's different pillows that can make things a lot easier. Good breastfeeding pillow, good breastfeeding chair. A humidifier is also excellent. I use a humidifier because in the winter the heater dries out your nose completely. During the summer the air is very arid, so the humidifier adds some moisture to the air that makes breathing easier at night. And so having a fish tank, Can also be visually very beautiful. Scented candles to have a nice aroma in the air. Those are just some of the things. Coping with little treats for yourself. Or it could be even a dill pickle. You know, you could eat just a sour dill pickle. It could be a grilled cheese. It could be a little bit of guacamole. Whatever your little treat is comfort food. When you are coping, you need comfort food. You need comforting things, nurturing things. Because if you're doing it on your own, you're going to have to be your own doctor, your own psychologist, your own therapist. Okay? And people can only help you so much, and after that, it's up to you. But warm showers with handmade soaps that smell like things you like. There are little spa things. Buying a shower that if you change the nozzle, it changes the flow. On my shower head, I can take it off and hold it, and I can also do a mist. It's really fun. So, and also a high-powered one that's more like blasts, like on a pressure point on your back, on your shoulders. It really helps with hot water. Things like that. There's different steps you can do for coping. And little spa treatments and whatnot at home. It's very helpful to cope in ways that do not develop bad habits. There are women who drink wine. They start to drink wine in their postpartum period. They become alcoholics. Or they start making excuses that they need to take pills and they don't breastfeed anymore because they want to take pills. Or they smoke blunts. You gotta be careful. So my whole point is that yes, the newborn stage is difficult, but always have gratitude that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed you to have a baby, because I guarantee you, if you have a good heart, if Allah took your gift back, you would look how stupid you were for being so ungrateful. But it can be difficult. You can cry. That's normal. You can cry, you can have pain, you can ask for help, you can supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy. That's totally fine, healthy and good. But just don't let shaitan make you have evil thoughts, because some women, they shake their own babies in postpartum depression. It's heartbreaking. It's really quite sad how often that happens when you examine the reports. So these videos that are really just shaming motherhood don't help anybody. It'll be difficult, but plan, read, study, learn. There's so much content. And reach out to someone who can help you just to vent, right? Just vent to some people. And they'll be able to help you if they care. And if you don't have anyone, you can do it anonymously online in some mom groups. But your healthcare provider usually will have some resources for you. Kaiser Permanente, if you have that in your state, you can have your local community clinic. There's lots of mommy clubs. There's lots of things at the library. There's little events. Things that can make life easier. Things that can make life easier. And this tiny list I gave you is not exhaustive, but just something inspirational to kind of get your brain juices flowing in that direction. I hope this helps. And if you know someone who just had a baby, show them kindness, offer them help, buy them a meal. If you can, clean their house, help them with their laundry, hear their woes, support them. Mothers need a lot of support in that period, because if the first child is a nightmare for them, they sometimes won't have a second. So help them. Help them. If you'd like to join my blog where I post more things about motherhood, more helpful stuff, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there.